What is your view, Devon, on Tobias right now? And a lot of the fan base, I think, is at the point where even though he's on an expiring, the contract's going to be gone after this year regardless. I think there is a pretty significant group of people in the fan base who are just like, they need to get rid of him before the deadline and bring someone else here because they know how this movie ends and they're expecting it to end the same way with him in the playoffs once again.
We had people in the chat wanting Marcus Morris ahead of him in the rotation.
Someone had it here today.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
right.
that's wild. But yes.
So back in the rafters,
I looked at, yeah, good to see you. I look at that and I say that I'm not, unless it's something that he really has to be the headline with picks, of course, in a deal that I truly believe whatever happens that he's still really going to be the fourth option with whatever they do. Like the OG Anunoby thing, while we can't sit here and say he's drastically better offensively because we know him more so for his defense, but you feel like maybe you trust him more offensively. We don't know that answer in a Sixers uniform, but we've seen him, of course, do things with the Toronto Raptors. So for Harris, I don't necessarily have to see him moved in a deal because I'm fine with him being the fourth. My problem is that we've seen him now for 5 seasons and it's the same stuff. Now, I will give him a few years ago, I thought he was the most consistent in the playoffs, even through once they got to round 2. And he performed really well, way beyond what I believed that he was going to do. But seeing him again here through these 19 games, that he is that guy. There's not much to him where it's going to change. We all can figure out the move that's coming. We all know where the spot is. Look, we all look at not even teams here locally, but nationally when we watch the other teams. All right, this player, Kevin Durant, likes to get to this spot at the elbow. TJ McConnell likes to get to that side of the floor where he likes to shoot it here. We know, again, that Tobias Harris wants to get to certain spots. We know the stutter step is coming with the high dribble, and we know he wants to back down a defender. And there's not a lot of creativity there where we are going to get frustrated and say, why didn't you finish that right there? That is your shot. Why are you not doing that? We just have to get used to it. And I think a lot of Sixer fans out there are going to have to get used to the fact that I think he's going to be there and be a part of the team, be that fourth option for your offense once the postseason gets here. And after all this time, folks, the money's coming off the books. So it's just simply a question of, even in that fourth option with whatever else they bring in here, can he elevate himself in this offense to do a little bit differently from what we've seen in the past to actually help them get past that second round and win, because there's not much else to him. So, but I don't think he's going to be traded, and I don't need to see him as part of another deal to go and bring in another player.
I do think at times, and look, Tobias frustrates me because, like I said in the last show, he doesn't excel as like an off-ball role player, and he doesn't excel as a featured player. He's just kind of competent at a lot of things. I don't love that archetype of player. And obviously I don't love the contract that's been weighing them down for a long time, but the contract isn't weighing them down anymore. They're not really at a threat of a hard cap. They don't really have moves that will put them there. That contract expires. It's not holding them back for this year, for the rest of the year. And I think a lot of people look at Tobias and say, he is actively harmful on the court. He's not. He's not who you need him to be. He's certainly not worth his contract, but he's not actively harmful on most nights. Now, look,
the Boston game last Friday is an exception. Yeah.
So he's frustrating. I get that. He frustrates me. The contract's bad. It's been bad for the entire time.
What it is.
But at this point, it is what it is. You're not going to change the equation by just getting rid of him. You actually have to get better players back. And I think at that salary, because they have so many other matching salaries, I agree with you. There's a real chance he is on this team after the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Not a guarantee. Like if there's a superstar becomes available, certainly he could be part of that deal. But there's a chance he'll be on his team, and he is not weighing the Sixers down in terms of he shouldn't be on the floor. He just shouldn't be paid what he's paid.
At best, at the deadline, if he is still part of the team and not included in any package, what do you look at him as going into a playoff run, end of the season, into the playoffs? What do you look at him as at best on this team? Fourth option, third option?
Oh, yeah. I mean, ideal world, he's got to be the fourth guy.
Okay.
And to Derek's point about how he scales and, his value as a secondary off-ball guy, he's only taking a little over 3 threes a game this year as the third guy. And on a team that Joel Embiid's getting doubled in the middle of the floor. Yeah. Tyrese Maxey's now drawing doubles when he's running the offense by himself. For Tobias to only take 3.3 threes a game, set aside that he's shooting 32% on threes, which is crazy low for him, the volume is just not there. And we've only seen him buy into volume shooting for, a week at a time. Yes. 2 weeks at a time. And it's normally at the start of a season. It's like, okay, I got in the lab, I got in the gym, I was doing this all summer. I give Tobias credit for it. I think he goes into every offseason, gets his messaging from whether it's Doc, whether it's Nick Nurse, whoever the coach is, and he does try to apply that to how he goes about his summer. I think there's a real effort made there. Yeah. The problem is he's, 31 now, and his habits are so ingrained that he goes through those first few weeks, and like a lot of people, it's like, people start going to the gym and they're in their good habits, and it only takes one bad day or I'm just going to fall back on what got me here, my normal routine. And Tobias is just a guy whose normal routine does not match what the Sixers need out of the 3-4 spot. They just need volume shooting, quick decision making, and better defense. I do give him credit. I think there have been moments where he's had some real defensive success here over the last few years. I do think he cares there, but I think there is still a limit on how high the ceiling is.
Sure.
There.
And like the defense, he, especially in the playoffs, he scales up as a one-on-one defender pretty well. The team stuff has always been his weaker point. But to your point, if he would just, like, for his Sixers career, he's shooting 37% from three. That's fine. That's good. Just if it was just on freaking 6 attempts per game instead of 3,
just take more of them. Like, he can make them.
Yes.
But when he gets in his head when he misses them.
Oh, 100%.
That's the problem.
And then he hesitates, and then you see it. It's there, and he just doesn't do it.
And to Kyle's point, I think part of the reason why he had success to start the season is he comes in, he's put in that work, so he has internal confidence. He comes out, the results are there, the confidence keeps going. But the moment he hits a dry spell, he just reverts. And you can't expect him to change at this point. Like, he is 31 going on 32 years old.
He's been in the league since 2011. Like, this is not a guy who you can reasonably expect to just become something different than what he is. And that's not criticism. Look, if you made the type of money that Tobias has made and you've had the amount of success that he's had, like, we can say that they've been stuck in the second round and all that, but he has a super high-end outcome for average guy who gets drafted and then comes to the NBA. So I get it. I understand why you get to a tough spot. You're falling back on what got you there, but it is not what's going to propel this team past the roadblock that they've hit in the second round.
And the hypothetical man says he gets in his head also when he gets blocked too. But that's part of it.
That's what you were for a good 3 months. You were the hypothetical man.
I was very hypothetical.
We love hypothetical man. He's here all the time.
Yeah, we can do that. We can add that to we can't steal the name, but add that to the show. But when I don't mind him reverting back to what he knows, because oftentimes when you have to get back to cleaning things up, you have to go back to what you know. The problem is when it gets in his head out there on the perimeter the way that it does, then it gets in his head, even if he knows that he has to go back, let's say backing down a smaller defender, get a fadeaway jumper, just to see the ball go through the net, get to the free throw line, see the ball go through the net, or get a layup and see the ball go through the net, and you feel pretty good about yourself. The tentativeness follows him from there to there. So it doesn't really matter. Where, yes, you are going to your bread and butter and what really helps clean out the mess that's in your head. But when you take that and then go down to the low block or the mid-range or the elbow, whatever it might be, and you can see him short arm him. He didn't shoot that, right? You got to follow through on that elbow jumper. He didn't shoot it. He just kind of shot it because he was thinking about it and he didn't follow through the way that he needed. And that's the problem, where it's okay to clean your head out to go back to what you know, but when you do that, you can't take that thing that got you back into that spot and let it affect the next one that you're going to take.
We all silly like the mayor.